turn 3, my turn. Oh, corrosion does not go away, and my UA dies. Horrible death. But I get to explode my mine. My trap was set, and four commandos for 3 sword knights. Not too shabby. And because I forgot to roll for my leadership or command last round, so I did just then, and they didn't make it. And so I'm not able to get any focus, but I get one from the Squire, which allows me to upkeep Fortify on my Thunderhead. Woohoo! And then I move my Squire out of the way, and then a Journeyman walks around, kind of like tiptoeing over the wall, and gets barely within 5 inches. Just a sliver. It's happened a couple times this game. And I needed a 12 to hit, but I missed. And so I cast Arcane Shield with the 2 that I have left onto the Storm Wall. Then my Sword Knights advance, they charging, and the one actually ends up just out of range, and the other one manages to just get in range. And yep, just out. And but the other one, of course, being a Sword Knight, I miss. I need flank to give him the +2, give him that 8. Anyways, Thunderhead moves up and half an inch into the forest. That was pretty generous. I'm sorry. And he pulses. And so everything within 6 inches that is not immune to electricity gets hit with a POW 12. So moving on, I barely don't hit my half-jack, which is perfect because I will need him in my plan. So 4 more guys die, and he does make leadership, I do believe. And then, yes, there's a leadership, or command. And the Sword Knights make the command too because they lost half because there's only 2 left. Against the Hunter, I only do 2 damage, but something is something, that's good. And against Siege, I managed to do nothing. Going back against Iris now, it's POW 12 and Armor 12, and I rolled a 5, which I thought was not enough. It is exact. Don't you just love filling in those boxes or seeing someone else fill them in? Take that model off. Then Arlen moves way up to the side and gives a focus to the Storm Wall. 2 focus on a no-focus turn is still not too bad. And he decides to start wailing into the big ol' Centurion. Now there's nothing in range for, or nothing enemy in range for lightning jumps. That's too bad. Electric leaps. But first one hits, does a bit of damage. Second one hits, does very little damage. And a third attack, I get the buy, and I do barely hit, but then nice big damage finally, and it take a huge chunk of the Centurion, but with Arcane Shield, even against a Storm Wall, luckily Maxi could have only had 2 more hits, and so he's doing well. And right at the end, I almost forgot it, but I dropped the the pod, and I don't manage to kill Gorman, so Gorman is still alive, and so we'll have to see what's going to happen there. But the half-jack runs up, and then Darius walks up, and I defeat. And so Stormwall and Thunderhead are back to full. And then I try a Tremor attack just to knock Centurion down, try and slow him down a bit. Although if he's in range for Tremor, he was able to stand up and not spend the focus to stand up anyways. But I think I tricked my opponent. We'll have to see. The defender walks up, runs, shoots against the Hunter, manages to hit. He needed an 8. And then I couldn't boost, obviously. Or, no, I could have boosted. I totally forgot to boost because of my Jack Marshall. Silly me. Well, that's something to learn. I didn't even notice that in the postgame. Then the Sword Knights charge forward and just engaging, just caught a little bit of trouble to keep them away from my big guys, mostly my caster. And so Sword Knights, of course, they all manage to miss. So turn 3 Tom got a defender, and he says he's the real Cygnar. He's going to prove it this turn. And so 3 focus to Centurion, and he uses 1 to stand him up. And then first Lynch attacks with Black Penny, manages to kill the Sword Knight, just barely. And then another one shoots in front of Gorman and manages to kill him as well. And Ryan, last shot, or she gets 2 shots. So hits and manages to kill the other Sword Knight. Very nice shooting by Black 13th. They're very reliable guys. And then uses Snipe and shoots and almost kills Arlen. There's a couple of damage there. And then that frees up Gorman, the wolf. And so he moves up just out of melee range of the defender and then launches at the squire. So it'll automatically miss, but it's right beside Darius, only scatters 3 inches. And this is the minus defense, the blinding smoke, but it scatters away, unfortunately. And so I get a bit lucky there, but then the Centurion walks up and I didn't realize how open Darius was. And so we're going to see how tough Darius can be if he can weather the storm. So boosting the hit and then boosting damage. Luckily not too bad, but 7 damage on a caster is nothing to scoff at. Then Siege walks up. He's all in at this point. If he fails this, Siege is very, very open. So he attacks but misses because he is in melee, because +4 he is at 17 defense. Hunter stands still. I can't believe how open I was. And manages to hit, boosts damage, and gets 9 damage with his armor piercing. I am a medium base, so that helps a lot. And then the defender at the back boosts the hit, hits, and then needs a 9 to kill, rolls an 8. And so I'm pretty sure I'm safe at this point, but then there's the journeyman. Moving up, he already made a 13 to hit, shooting in the combat. Now he's trying it again, boosting the hit. This roll might tell that, oh, there it is, triple box cars. And for the final roll, boost damage. Oh, and Darius is gone. Well,
junior man, never underestimate your junior work.
Well, epic handshake time.
That was a
good game. That was intense. Woo! Whoa. I love how like everything's surrounding Stormwall. He thinks he's all that. Well, you bested me.
Barely.
You needed that 13 to hit at the end?
Yeah.
Ooh. But that was a good game. I liked
really
it.
Good game. Really good
Turned
game.
out I totally screwed up with Darius. But we'll talk about the post game. Stay tuned, Vault members, and happy wargaming.
And I know I could have just stood up the Centurion. I know.
Just so you know.